What's up, fight fans? Welcome back to the Comments from the Peanut Gallery podcast. I'm your host, Jordan Kurtz. You can follow me along online at Comments from the Peanut Gallery. We are joined by a special guest today on the Greater Than Detail hotline. We have the Peaceful Warrior, Caleb Crump. He's returning back to the show. So grateful to have you back on, my man.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So, I mean, you're one of the most busy guys that I know out there on the scene in Colorado right now. It seems like you're out there competing damn near every week, and you've got a big fight coming up on top of all of these submission grappling matches that you're cleaning up on all across the board.
I appreciate that. Yeah, man, I like to stay busy. Keep sharpening up my tools. I like to do grappling in between my fighting to just keep leveling up.
Yeah, definitely, man. So real quick, right off the top, let's talk details of what you have going on in a couple of weeks here. You've got a big fight. Why don't you let people know the details on your fight? How can people follow you? So on and so forth.
Yeah, so June 18th, I'll be fighting for Battle MMA in Colorado Springs. I believe it's at the Penrose Event Center. And then you could follow me on Instagram at the Peaceful Warrior 170. Or just Caleb Crump on Facebook, and get at me for tickets.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, I think that it's going to be great to see what you bring back to the cage in this time out, because you were supposed to fight earlier this year, and unfortunately had a little bit of adversity that made you pull out of a title fight for Midwestern. But I mean, I know that you, just the way that you approach the game, it wasn't necessarily in your mind, it wasn't a major setback in the sense of it just allows you to kind of specialize and kind of sharpen the sword just a little bit more so that you're ready to cut the head off of the next opportunity. Is that fair to say?
Thank you. You cut out for a second, but yeah, exactly. Adversity, we just comes to make us stronger. I have broke my hand. They put a plate in there and some screws. So yeah, I had to pull out of that fight in March, and they don't have another show until November. So I will still fight for the belt in November, unless something crazy happens. So yeah, actually, I was only able to drill for a little bit. Are you with me?
Yes. Did I cut out again?
Yep. No, you're good now. So after I broke my hand, I could only drill for a little bit. So I ended up doing like an extra class. I used to just go to advanced jiu-jitsu at 6, but when I was recovering from the broken hand, I would do the intermediate to do extra drilling. I would do intermediate and advanced. And I actually liked it so much that that's been on my schedule since that happened in February. So just been doing extra jiu-jitsu classes. And then when I was finally able to get back and compete, my first one back was the 80cc trials. And I won a couple matches. I got a submission and another dominant win. And then I lost my last one by points in the last few seconds, my third match. And it was eye-opening experience for me to see that, like, this is minor differences, separate the best, from everyone else. And it was also inspiring, for me to see that I'm close to those higher levels. So I came back, and yeah, I've been cleaning up house since then. I went to Sacramento twice for a cash prize tournament. I won at 165 and at 185. Making 165 was terrible, though. I don't want to get that low again if I don't have to.
Yeah, I mean, I know that we talked about it when you first went, or when you left from the 155-pound division from fighting. You told me that you never wanted to go back down toward those waters ever again. So I can only imagine.
No, yeah, actually, and for a little while, I thought I wanted to fight at 165, but making 165 this last time, I ended up cutting 14 pounds the day of weigh-ins, and it just sucked so bad. I don't know. So I made it, though, and it all worked out. I submitted everybody. And I came back to Denver, and I won the IBJJF tournament, quadruple gold, submitted everybody. So, yeah, so now the next thing is my fight. So just focusing on that, and I think it'll be a good showcase for me, good opportunity.
Certainly. Now, for those who may not have seen you fight up to this point in your career, what can fans tuning in to see you for the first time, or that might be going down and watching you live for the first time, what can they expect to see from you once you get locked in that cage?
Man, a sprint to the finish. I'm trying to finish you as fast as my opponent as fast as possible. I like to say one takedown, one submission. That's always the goal. But I'll fight my heart out, whatever it takes, to get my hand raised at the end of the night. But I do expect I expect a first round finish. That's definitely the plan.
You don't get paid overtime, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what my boy Brandon Royval always talks about there. Like, I'm trying to get in there and trying to get the hell out of there. Like, I'm not trying to spend any more time than is absolutely necessary.
No, I agree with that 100%, man. It's so dangerous. Like I can work on all these other techniques in camp and at the gym, but come fight night, I'm just trying to do the things I'm best at and win as fast as possible, take no damage. That's always the goal too.
Certainly. Now, with that being said, you've already got kind of a roadmap for yourself throughout the rest of this year. Ultimately, at the end of the day, what are you looking at for in terms of, or do you have a certain amount of total fights that you're looking to get on the books, or is it just kind of like, hey, like I know I'm going to have this, I'm going to have that title fight that's coming up in the fall. Are you trying to get a third one in before the end of the year, or what's your thought process?
I'm super optimistic and ambitious. I'd like to get four. I don't even know if it's possible, since I had that delay in the beginning of the year. But yes, I would be happy with 3 fights, win this one, win another one, win the title in November. And I think that would set me up real nicely to make the big leagues for next year.
Nice. So that's what you see, the big picture. That's your goal by the end of 2023. You want to get that call?
Oh man, by the beginning, if I can.
By the
Yeah,
beginning?
as soon as possible. Definitely 2023. I think I can see myself in the big leagues for sure. Just one step at a time, though. Not overlooking any opponent or anything. And yeah, it's cool, man. Training with Elevation, I get to train with some of the best in the world. Neil Magny, I've been getting a lot of work with him, and he literally has the most wins in the welterweight division in UFC. So it's really cool to be able to go with him all the time and see like where I'm at. And yeah, I'm confident I'll be in the big show next year.
That's awesome. And I mean, they just by proxy of you working with that level of talent and the consistency of talent and skill in the room that you work with, like I say, by proxy, you're going to elevate. You're going to continue to grow at a similar rate or within that same trend line, just because in order to keep up in that space, you've got to continue to evolve and develop your game. Is that a fair assessment?
Absolutely. You become, a product of your environment. That's why most of us are from elsewhere. Only a few people are actually from Denver. But yeah, we all came here to just become a part of this great environment where we all push each other. Yeah, you really have to evolve or you just get left behind. And you see it too, you see the guys that are evolving and then the people that are kind of falling behind. So it's crazy to see, but it's good to know, you can't cheat the man in the mirror. You're doing the work or you're not doing the work. So it's cool, man. It's cool to see. I think I got a good year coming up ahead of me. Right after so I'm fighting June 18th, and then 2 weeks later I'm going to nationals for IBJJF, and then I'm gonna do a 3v3 tournament in July, and then yeah. So I haven't scheduled anything out besides the title fight after that, but I hope I have another cage fight. Like literally August would be great time. See if I can manifest that an August fight.
I'm sure that you'll figure out a way to make it happen. Usually the person who has their hand out and is active and putting on good shows and giving the return that I mean, because it is a two-way street, right? Like it can't just be all it take. Like you're delivering something back to the promotion, right? Like, so you keep on doing what you do. You find finishes are exciting one way or the other, plain and simple. You keep
Yep.
on going out there and finding those finishes and staying constantly in the cycle of competition. I have no doubt that the opportunities are going to materialize for you there on that front. It's just the nature of the beast right there. You know, the person who is always constantly a presence is eventually going to be noticed and is going to be someone who gets that look.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Fate favors the bold.
Oh, 100%. And I think that that's something that we've came to really know a lot about just in general over the course of the last couple of years, just based off of the events that have gone on in the world. Like we've seen, like, hey, if you're willing to take the risks and if you've put in the work to be able to have that foundation and, you know, that I guess just true core skill set that you can rely on, but you also can go take the risk, you might find some opportunities that work out in your way. And at by the same token, if you don't take the bat off your shoulder, you're not going to get a hit.
Yeah. And don't worry about striking out, man. Nobody remembers Babe Ruth for the amount of times he struck out. You know, they remember all the home runs. So it's just part of it.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%, man. So you are also someone who's super huge on the mindset and the mental aspect of the game. And especially the last time we talked about this last time you were on the show a little bit, but what are maybe some of the new books or new sources of that mental growth that you've been into recently?
Man, that's a good question. I'm always looking to level up. I mean, right now I'm reading a book called, or listening to on Audible, a book called Dare to Prepare. It's just about, you know, doing everything. What do they say? Crossing off your T's, dotting your I's, doing everything ahead of time that you know you need to do to prepare to win and prepare for, you know, different circumstances. I mean, if I can, I'm trying to read a new book as often as possible. When I went to Sacramento this last time, I finished 2 books. One was called Do the Impossible, and a lot of them have reoccurring themes. It was basically just have the biggest goals you possibly can, and you're not going to know how every step is going to work out. You just, you know, one step at a time, you work through it and work through it, and boom, you hit your big goal. So that was one, and the other one was called Make No Small Plans. That's what it was called. And it's also, yeah, similar, very similar. Just being ambitious, man, and then taking appropriate actions and reevaluating and reanalyzing your actions and the consequences. And yeah, just keep leveling up, you know, having those high standards for yourself goes a long way.
Certainly. Now let's talk ambitious for a second here. That mullet, my friend, is ambitious. What was the inspiration there?
Thank you. Dude, so I just saw some nice mullets and I was like, man, I've had the same haircut for like ever. Like I had the same haircut for maybe like 5, 6, 7, long time, felt like years. And I just want to do something different. And I want to just be all in with fighting and just I thought the mullet was a good option. And it's been like wow, it's been like 17 months I've been growing this thing out now. And hell yeah, I love it. I want to braid. I'm gonna braid my hair before I go into the cage, like the war braids, Viking
Yeah.
style, probably for my title fight in November.
Nice. Yeah, you're starting to get close to the length up top. I
Yeah,
used to,
sure,
when I had my long hair, I would be able to that's what I had to do whenever I would do tournaments or anything. I would have to get it braided up, but it was super necessary at that point, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I don't know. Like, have you gotten to the point to where it's I mean, with I guess it's not as bad with the mullet because you're not as long on the top and on the sides. But bro, there would be sometimes training where it was like having long hair was such a pain at certain points.
Well, I know there's sometimes people be like pulling my hair out on accident or whatever, but it's all good, man. It's just I love training. No, it's not bad. I like it actually. It makes me a little different, you know, from all the other fighters with the traditional fade.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely it stands out. I mean, I would go with if I had it, if I had that majestic mullet the way that you're rocking it, I would just be going like full Danny McBride, red from Pineapple Express. Like, you know, you
Yeah,
see it shaved down here on the sides like this. It makes me more aerodynamic when I fight.
that's right, baby. Hell yeah.
Yeah, definitely,
So
man. But that all
sending the
that being
mullet into
said,
action.
there, yeah, yeah. You know, with all that being said, there, Caleb, this is going to be a fight that's back down in Colorado Springs. You've had a few fights down there. It's nothing that's really going to be outside of the ordinary for you in terms of, you know, like you're used to training up here at a high altitude rate. Your opponent, you know, what do you think that in terms of your high octane pace and being able to fight in a high altitude environment? What do you think that that's going to do for you strategically?
I mean, I'm gonna drown him. That's what I think. I think I'm gonna start strong and finish strong, and I'm not overlooking him. I'm sure he's punches heavy or whatever, punches hard and all that good stuff. But I just don't think he's gonna be ready. There's no way he's training as hard as me. There's no way he's training as smart as me. He's not training with the people I'm training with. He's not in the environments I'm in. Um, and it's all gonna show, man. You can't cheat the grind. So June 18th, we're about to find out who put in the work ahead of time.
Perfectly said right there. Caleb, has there been any sort of like shows or songs or quotes or anything like that that is telling your story of this camp?
There's a song called "Down Below" I keep listening to by Roddy Rich. Have you heard it? Down Below.
I just don't recognize it right off the title off the top, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure as soon as I turn it on after this, because that's the first thing I'm going to do when we hop off, I'll probably recognize it. I just don't know the name of a
Yeah.
ton of songs.
No, yeah, no. It's just about like starting from the bottom and then coming up basically. And it's a cool. I've been just listening to it a lot. I guess that's probably the number one song on the way to the gym. I'm like, all right. I don't know if I'm gonna walk out to it yet. I haven't completely figured out my walkout song for this one, but that's in the running for sure.
Now, I mean, brings up another question that we've kind of ran into, or not ran into, but we've been asking and just getting a feel for. Josh Friend and I on our show, the MMA Plug, when we have fighters on, we just when you choose your walkout song, because you don't have a set one that you walk out to every fight,
Switch
correct?
it up. Switch it up. Yep.
Yeah. So whereas someone, like there's some people who though they have their signature song, like they walk out to the same song like every single time,
Every
like it's
time.
their
Yeah.
song. But for those who do mix it up and switch it up, is it something that you choose on the basis of like it because it's getting you going or it takes you to a certain place? Or there's also some that we've spoken to who said that they make their selection kind of based off of what it might do for the crowd. Like we had Austin Jones on a couple weeks ago, and he
Yeah.
went out to his last couple of fights, he's gone out to Beat It by Michael Jackson, or he's gone out to
Mhm.
Michael Jackson songs. And it's just, he says he feels the energy from the crowd singing back those songs. Like when the crowd is literally singing the song that you're walking out to, he said he just gets like an extra little jolt in the arm from that. So it's not necessarily something like, more or less, like Josh comes out to Ambitions as a rider because when he hears that line meal ticket mission, like that just sends him to that zone that, okay, like you got to go now. Like this is your time. Like it's just a different mindset, like how do you go about your process?
That's interesting. There's definitely something to be said about connecting with the audience. The energy is super real. I like that. I never even actually really thought about that. I always just kind of think about like what I'm feeling, like what kind of like just puts me either in like a good place or like just a song I'm vibing with. I guess it's just mixes it up a lot. Like last time I walked out to Dance Monkey and it wasn't like a yeah, it was just kind of different, but I was vibing with it and I liked it and I went out and I had a good fight. So hopefully it's a similar experience June 18th.
Oh, certainly, certainly. I love that question because it's something that is unique from person to person. Like it gives a real kind a glimpse it just peels that layer of the onion back and gives me a better glimpse of you, you know, and your process. I like hearing that aspect of it.
Yeah, I think some people think about it more than other people too, but it definitely gives
That's
a little
definitely
glimpse
fair.
into where their mentality is essentially, yeah, going into the fight. And it's an opportunity, yeah, to connect with the guests or the people there.
And then I'm sure you have some that out there that they have
Yeah, that's the word.
zero, like they don't care at all about what the audience may think about the song, whatever, just so long as it's something that, like, you know, they can connect with, or they can like belt out. Like I think saw, you know, MMA Twitter went crazy over Ketlin Vieira's walkout song last week for the UFC when she fought Holly Holm. It was just, you know, like I'm guessing just by the tone of it, it sounded almost like a worship song
Oh,
in
yeah, yeah.
Portuguese, like, and she was just like almost like singing and like looked like she was halfway, like just by the mannerisms and whatnot, it sounded like, you know, like when you see someone in church and they're catching the Holy Ghost, like hands in the air, you know, like sing, like it looked like that kind of vibe. So I mean, I'm sure for some it's just like, hey, I don't care what you guys think about it. Like I need this to get me in the zone or to get me comfortable with what I need to go do. So like I say, it's so unique from person to person. And I like hearing that answer.
It yeah, it definitely ultimately I think it matters most to the fighter, the effects, but the fans do affect things as well, for sure.
Certainly. And now, Caleb, you mentioned that Neil was one of your big partner or big training partners that you've been getting a lot of work in with lately, but obviously you're in a world-class room full of athletes there. Who have been some of the other pivotal training partners for your camp?
Man, Dante Shiro, he's a Bellator fighter. I've been working a lot with Dante, and then another dude, Avery. He's sick black belt. He spends half like a lot of time in Texas, but he's here a lot too. Been working with him a lot. Um, Man, I mean, I just got a whole room, just a whole ton of killers, man. I'm just super blessed, man. Every day people be like, "How you doing?" I'm just blessed. I'm happy to be here. Like it's really cool to be in the environment I'm in. Bojan is a really good training partner. Uh, Sometimes it feels like I'm like, all right, if I could go with Bo and Neil, like I go with anybody. It feels like.
I think that does a lot for any fighter in general with the confidence factor. You know, I've talked to quite a few fighters as these, you know, the LFA card is coming up this next week. There's you guys with Battle, there's the Colorado Combat. So just talking to a ton of people who have this coming up right now. And that's been a common theme amongst, you know, like a lot of the guys coming from your camp and then some of them coming from over here with us is just the everyone in the room. Like it's the thought that, you know, what I'm seeing on a day-to-day basis, like, you know, like Louis, I'm not sure if you know who Luis Gurley is. He's one of our younger guys, younger pros on the team, but I mean, complete murderer out there. He's fighting on this LFA card, making his pro debut. He's just
Awesome.
he fought on that card that you were supposed to fight on that Nebraska card.
Midwest
And
card, yep.
yeah, just I mean, when you see this kid fight, like it's a different level of savage. Like there's
What
certain
weight?
kids that are kind of he I think he's making his debut at 35, but in the end, I
Oh,
think he'll
okay.
end up at 25er. Just
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
but he was just a little like imagine though, like 135-pound Yoel Romero.
Wow, yeah. I'll be there at that LFA card, so I'll be looking for him.
Yeah,
We
yeah. So and he's he was one of Brandon Royval's bodies for a couple of his last camps, and especially like the Bontarine camp.
Yep,
So just,
yep.
you know, someone like him, I spoke with him yesterday and he said like, hey, the thing is I know that whoever has the unfortunate night of getting locked in there with me hasn't been giving me what someone like, you know, the number 5 guy in the world, Brandon Royval, has been showing me this entire time.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Confidence through the roof, man. It's cool.
Yeah, that's so incredible, man. And I love seeing you out there thriving because, you know, we've gotten to kind of we connected early on. That was one of your first couple of pro fights. That was my first night ever of doing commentary. And
Heck yeah.
then, you know, flash forward, then once I got in the fold with Colorado Combat Club, got to do your fight there, and just have since then, you know, have stayed in touch. So I love seeing the growth and I love seeing someone who does put in the work and treat it with a true dedication, puts in the commitment, the consistency, and is willing to sacrifice the necessary things to be able to walk that path toward glory and greatness, like it's nothing but the ultimate respect toward you. And I'm happy to be able to see you grow and prosper.
Hey, I appreciate that, my brother. Right back at you, man. It's cool to see you growing as a commentator. You got your show and everything's everything's going up, man. It's I like to say what a rising tide lifts all ships with it, you know. So you got good people around you, you all lift each other up and you all call each other out, you know, when you're not doing what you need to be doing.
Certainly, my man. Certainly. Now, Caleb, we've covered a fair amount of things here. We've talked recent updates for you over the last few months, going and competing all over the place, bringing home the cash off of the mat. Your fight coming up, some training partners, mindset and mentality. We've tackled a lot of topics so far in a short time here. Is there something that we haven't addressed that you want to get out there to any friends, family, supporters, anybody out there?
Man, that is a great question. I probably should have thought about a little bit ahead of time, but just believe in yourself, man. Like go for it. You know, you got something on your heart, go for it. You can do it, put in the work, and it will be worth it, you know. I think that's it. Just going for it and believe in yourself. And you're not gonna know all the steps. You know, you just take one step, and you keep learning and growing. You accomplish whatever you want, whatever you set your mind to. You know, put yourself in the right environment, and you will grow. You know, so believe in yourself. Pretty much is the little spiel I guess I'll give off.
You couldn't have capped it off any better right there, my man. As we tie things up here, are there any sponsors, management, anybody that you want to throw a shout out here to?
Yeah, I mean, Top Shelf Sports Management is my manager, Chris Lopez, doing big things. Grateful to be with him. Huge blessing to be with the Elevation Fight Team, training at high altitude martial arts, Eastern Centennial, Eastern Boulder. Sometimes I go to Pound for Pound Fitness. Sometimes I go to 10th Planet. Just the whole community here in Colorado is awesome, man. The martial arts community, we help each other a lot, it feels like, and yeah, I'm just grateful for the many people around me. I live in a fight house here. We call it like the Champ House, and all my roommates. I'm just grateful for everyone. We're all, you know, pushing each other to success. One of my roommates, he'll be on that LFA card next week. Ben Tynan, call him Vanilla
Okay.
Thunder. He's going to be making his second professional fight. So be looking for some noise on that end next weekend.
That heavyweight heat.
Yeah, exactly, man. Dude can throw down. So I would expect a first round finish in his fight too.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's not that many big athletic humans that walk around at that size and who are skilled at basically creating murder situations with their hands.
And dude gets to train with Curtis Blades all the time. Yeah, just like you're saying, like the training partners. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, definitely, my man. Where can people follow you one last time here on the way out, Caleb?
Hey, thank you, Jordan. So the Peaceful Warrior 170 on Instagram or Caleb Crump on Facebook. That's me. Stay blessed.
And you're still selling tickets and everything for the fight, correct?
Yes, sir. So $40 for general, $60 for cage side, $80 for cage side with a table, and it comes with one drink. June 18th is
People,
the Penrose Event Center.
make sure that you hit him up in advance for these tickets. There's nothing worse for a fighter to have to deal with than it being the last couple of days before the fight itself happens, which means that you're in the last stages of cutting weight or deep into the weight cut. They don't want to be dealing with that at that time. Hit them
That's
up in
facts.
advance as a courtesy to them so that they're able to get you those tickets. You're able to make sure that you're secured for your spot there in the venue, and it takes the stress off of their plate. We're not trying to shoot the cortisol levels up any more than they already have to be. So do them the favor by hitting them up in advance, right?
Yes, sir. You said it, man. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. And like I say, I just want to thank you again so much for coming on, my man. Really do appreciate your time.
Appreciate you, man. Keep growing. Keep blooming.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I'm Jordan Kurtz. You can watch me along each and every week on the Mile High Sports Network. That is the MMA Plug presented by the Talk of Colorado on 98.1 FM, or stream that live every single week I'm with the UFC middleweight Josh Friend. That's at milehighsports.com or denversportsbetting.com/radio. You can check us out each and every week. Like I say, I'm Jordan Kurtz. You can follow me along at Comments from the Peanut Gallery. If you're watching us along online, please make sure that you smash that subscribe button so we can keep getting this content to you every single week. Hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss a drop. Like I say, this is the Comments from the Peanut Gallery podcast, and we will see you next time.
Thank you so much for watching. Please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. That helps us continue to produce this original MMA content and bring it for you every single week. Tune in to the MMA Plug presented by denversportsbetting.com on 98.1 FM, Mile High Sports Radio on Wednesday nights from 6 to 7 p.m. or live stream at denversportsbetting.com/radio.